2.5.
Oops. Trying to get the tag off of here without losing a finger or two. Hi private group, happy Sunday. It is Sunday, the 15th of August. And I told you that I would show you how to make the football wreath using the Dollar Tree wreath frame. So I've been spending the last 30 minutes trying to figure out the technique that I think turns out a really good product. So we're not going to get through the entire thing because I've only gotten this far on mine. So I still have another 1, 2, 3 sections left to go. But I'll get you started. We'll make the bow that's going to go on the top of it, and you'll kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. So I came across a picture in Pinterest not that long ago. I showed it to Steve, where they were basically taking, let me just kind of do it lightly here. They were kind of doing this with the brown flex tubing. So they were going like this. So, and they were just kind of letting it stay somewhat fat all the way through the design, which is, the downside is that you can see through it. Granted, you can probably push a lot in there. What I don't like to see is the same theory that happens to us on the 3D pumpkin wreaths, that you can see the wire form. Could you spray it brown? Maybe, and it might hold, you know, it just depends on what color brown, because if you do it like in a totally different shade other than this, you're gonna probably see it. So what I did, because I didn't like that look, and I kind of liked the look that was happening when I was trying to get things started at the very bottom, which is, I kind of looped it through these. Let's just go around. I'm just going to try to get this started, because you kind of want to do it from the back side, if at all possible, to hang on to that little fray piece, because it frays. So I'm going to, it would help if I get my pipe cleaner going the right direction, like so. So remember, our zip ties are only going to get so tight, so you have to be careful with this that it doesn't pull through. And we're going to take our zip tie and twist it to the back anyway. So this will go to the back, and this will get covered up when we get to the bow part. But what I found is a better technique, and it takes a lot of this mesh, is we have to do it the way that we did on the 3D pumpkin. You just have to get all of your deco mesh tubing to go through. So you're covering up every single time it comes across. I'm doing a really long piece here. So every time it comes over, we're gonna go around. And see, like right there, I'm going under the frame. So if you go under the frame, you're gonna have to go around that section. Otherwise, you're going to see it when your tubing lays flat. When it goes over it, you don't have to go all the way around. But here, you do. Why? You need to cover the frame. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it the way I saw. But what ends up happening is you've got to get the bottom started down here. And if you're trying to keep your deco mesh tubing width open, you're going to have a difficult time with that. So I'm just going around the ones I go over. And like this, and pull the whole thing through. It's just a lot of tubing. And I just kept pushing it down, just kept. You know, every time I'm over, I'm good. Every time you go under, you have to go all the way around. Oop, I don't think I pulled the wrong way. Yeah, I did. Nope, I didn't. I grabbed the wrong side and yanked. This is the downside about using so much tubing, is you grab the wrong one to pull. There we go. Nope, not that side. It's more of a mess. Here we go. Trying to find the right side. You can start with smaller pieces if you'd like. See, and I just pulled the whole thing off again. This is what happens when I try to cheat.
Hi, Shawanda. Said hi, everyone. I'm new to the group. Welcome.
So remember, we're going under, so you have to go all the way around.
Linda, yeah, you could definitely do this with a yarn too, but that chocolate yarn is hard to find.
I have not been able to find any chocolate yarn that will work without it being just, you know, your regular thin chocolate yarn. So you're just gonna keep doing this over and over and over, okay? Until you get a really nice weave going. So now, let me show you what it looks like. So I'm just going to snip this off because I'm gonna keep going with the one that I have. I'll just leave that one. So that's our starter. Oops. This is what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? It looks so amazing. Now this is gonna get tacked to the back. I was just tucking my white part in for now. And I was trying to figure out how to make that transition over the section without it coming undone. Just like this. And so this is where I'm kind of leading off. I'm just going to tie these two together so I can keep going. I have to just be super careful. And I don't want to go really crazy here. I'm gonna cut this.
Says that's cool. Yeah, it does look really good once you have to pull on it pretty tight.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So you can't like weave it a whole bunch of times. Like I tried doing that. I tried every cheat sheet shortcut in the world you could possibly get, and you can't cheat. So if you try to like weave it all the way through, it's not going to come out. What ends up happening is as you're pulling your mesh, your flex tubing tight, we're kind of creating that woven look, but you need to keep it flat and not twist it, because if you twist it, you make it thinner than it needs to be. I'm going to go under this one because I want that section where I've joined the two together to be hidden. Yeah. So I'm trying to pull this through.
Pam, where do you get the brown mesh tubing?
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree.
Yep. Exactly.
Kat thinks it's going to take about 2 of these, but I would buy a couple of these.
I bought, I think, 5. Just because it was $5, and I'm like, okay, really? That's pretty inexpensive. So now I'm going to go back up, and then I'm going over. See, and this is going to tuck back under. And then I'm not going to worry about, what do you call them, Steve? The stitches up here. I'm going to add those at the end because it's too pointless for us to worry about it now. So I'm just like really taking my time and making sure that this folds flat.
So this will be time consuming.
This is a great project. Kat wishes she would have started. But like I said, initially when I looked at the original picture, they left it all flat, like big tubes. But the problem is you could totally see daylight through there. Let's take that and tuck that underneath. And you'll see it starts to create a really nice look.
Yeah, like the glow.
Yeah. And the tighter you make your weave as we're going through this section, and what I'll do is I'll just finish this middle with you guys, and then we'll add our bow, and then there's kind of no point for you guys to watch me to continue weaving. So remember, every time you go under, you have to go all the way around to cover the frame. So here we're going over, which is fine. It's the unders. You need to grab and pull all these.
As long as you have the deco mesh all kind of handy, you could probably sit down and do this.
Like, I know I'm going to be happy once it's finished. It's just like I didn't plan on it being this time consuming, which is one of those things where if you don't work it out beforehand and you do a live on it, like, I don't know. I think I was so frustrated. I was about ready to just throw the whole thing away and say, forget it. It's just not worth the time. And then I just followed my own advice, which is just keep going. And you want to make sure that it stays on there nice and tight. I want to pull it.
Lisa, I just bought one yesterday. Wasn't sure what I was going to use it for. Guess you answered that for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people add deco mesh to it. Not a fan. Don't like the way it comes out, honestly. And I'm pretty particular on the products I like to go out there. You know, I would be happy at this point with this design, you know, should someone pick it up, because I know it's going to look nice. It's going to look the way I think people would want it to look. So I'm just trying to find the easier way. And then we just keep pushing. The deco mesh tubing just likes to fall all over the floor. So if we can get it to go up.
No, I replied to you. Yeah, I can see your comment.
What's that?
She's saying she's sure that she has the notifications on, but she's not getting the notifications. There's not much we can do about it. It's a Facebook thing.
It seriously is a Facebook issue. There's people who text live alerts to their Facebook followers and they're not getting them. So usually when stuff like that happens, Facebook's in the works making something happen. And when they do that, the things we rely on don't work like they should.
And for the white portion or the silver portion, I think you use just the silver deco mesh tubing. Mm-hmm. I think it's 5 rows, 5 or 6 rows.
4 rows.
Just 4?
Just 4. Yes, just 4. And that is, you know, you start it, go across 4 rows, come back, and then tie the 2 together. But make sure it's on the back side so that... Trying to make sure these don't get in a big giant knot.
Oh, awesome, Carmen. She said, I just found 5 on Monday.
Let's see if we
She
can
said
get that.
Instagram was also acting up. Hi, Lita.
What is acting up?
Instagram.
Yeah. So remember, Instagram is owned by Facebook. So if one isn't working, here's the thing that I usually discover. If I'm not sure it's me or if it's the internet, try closing everything out and opening everything back up. If you're still having issues, generally most people, if you follow the comments, everybody else is having the same issue. That just lets you know that it's not you. If you want to know for sure if, you know, Facebook is not working, then go to Google and type in Facebook outages. This is what I do. And then it will notify you whether or not Facebook is down. Because you'll see hundreds of other people saying, I can't log into my Facebook. I'm trying to open up a Facebook Live and all I'm getting is black screen, or it's not loading, or I'm not doing anything. And then at that point, you just go find something else to do.
Susan, if you can find chocolate yarn, you could use either the tubing or the yarn. Probably yarn would be better.
Yeah, I mean, I looked high and low for chocolate yarn and nobody has it out. I want it in the chunky, not just regular, so that you don't have to weave it, you know, as much. But honestly, I like the metallic look that the deco mesh tubing has. And you can order this tubing. Can you give them the SKU number for this tubing? It's right there on that piece of paper.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you can order these, and I think you get 4 of each color for fall. What is the SKU number, Steve? Oh, you're typing it?
SKU number is 275914 space 2104.
So Steve's giving you the number if you want to go to Dollar Tree and order it. I cannot guarantee you what they will ship because I just walk into the store. I grabbed the 5 bags I saw, and I was like, okay, I know I'm going to need this for that football wreath. And you can see, you know, kind of once you get it going, once your flex tubing gets smaller, it's so much easier than when it's super long. So I'm just trying to keep it, make sure it stays flat.
Pam, what she's going to do the whole rest of it in brown and then do the other silver side. And then at the end, she'll go back and do the stitching and the seam.
Yeah, I'll show you. Like, we'll finish this section together. And then, let's see. The last thing I would do, the last thing I plan on doing is the stitching. Because once it's woven, I'm just going to basically take the silver mesh, thread it. Just such a pain. Yeah, all I'm going to do is just weave my stitching right here on this middle section 8 times, and then I'm done. I'm super, like, I was so hoping that this would go so much quicker than it did, but like anything that looks good, it requires time.
Yeah, Kat said there's no use in watching her just keep weaving this over and over and over again. It's going to take her at least an hour.
An hour? I think it'll take me a lot longer. It took me 30 minutes to finish the bottom, but I had to work out what was working. So once you figure it out and you get it going, then it's super easy. And going overs are easy. But see how nice this makes this look? It really, holds the shape of the football better than anything I've seen.
Yeah, she is kind of stretching it tight if you see how she's doing it.
Yeah,
not too tight. But.
See, I'm really pulling it tight though. I really am. I'm making it more flat.
Right.
So all I'm doing is I go around the ones I have to go under, and then this is an over.
By doing that though, you really see the shape of the football.
Yeah, what happened to my, it's right here. And then all I'm doing when I run out is I just join the 2 pieces together. So we're gonna go under and around. So we can get this one to go somewhat a little faster. We're gonna go over, under, all the way around. And I'm pushing them down, so even when I finish this section, I will try to pack it as tight as I possibly can so that it becomes almost an impossibility for me to even add 1 more row of this all the way around. But you want to keep a really good tension on it so that it doesn't loosen up.
Sure, so I want to make these for my grandsons.
I think it'd be super cute because you can do them in school colors. You can, you know, if you're doing
black
them,
and white. Yeah.
you can do them in your favorite football team's colors, but remember, you cannot sell those on Facebook Marketplace, your Etsy shop. You have to do those as individual private sales.
Well, you could just put football team colors, orange and black, or black and white. You don't have to necessarily put...
If you were doing an authentic Steelers with Steelers ribbon, you cannot do that. It is a licensed trademark, so you don't want to get into trademark infringement. If you're just doing something like this with generic colors, you're fine. But when you start putting in NFL trademark stuff, You can't do that. I know it's so easy when you're like, but we can buy this stuff and that's great. The people who sold it to you were for individual sale, not for you to remake it and resell it. You trying to find more? I have a little piece right here, but I'm okay. I'll have Steve cut me another one so we can finish this section up. Look how pretty that looks. It looks so nice. And of course, this will be tucked into the back. I just have it on the front right now so I know, hey, you need to be concerned with that. But I think it looks super cute. You're gonna cut half of that?
Yeah.
I was trying to find the halfway point. So now I'm going into bag number 2. I think 2 bags, honestly, would give you enough to finish this. Because remember, I have another piece of brown here on the floor that I'm going to make sure. I'm going to try to find the other end. There it goes. So we're going to go under this one. Try to keep the end in my hand till we get rid of the connected piece, which is going to go right there, which is really nice. So I'm going to go around.
Yes, you can, Gail. She said I just had a broadcast interruption. Facebook could be a pain in the butt.
Facebook is a pain in the butt most of the time. But
Peggy shared a link that says has chocolate chunky Chanel yarn.
yeah,
It looks a bit dark to me, but they are calling it chocolate. Thank you, Peggy.
I think there's been a couple I've kind of seen, but then it, you know, until you can physically see it, you don't know, is it really the right one that you need? And I would certainly hate to buy something that isn't what I needed. So under, I'm sure someone's going to invent a method that is much quicker than this. But this is what, for any of us who have built the 3D pumpkin and woven it this way, this is what we've dealt with. So I'm going all the way around whenever it wants to give me the other end. Almost here.
Debbie, everything you see is from the Dollar Tree. The football form and the deco mesh tubing.
Yep.
She's using the brown and the silver.
The only thing that won't be is when we add our bow to the top. So I had hoped to maybe have half of it finished before we started, but Steve's like, nope, you're live, you need to go. I'm like, well, I've only finished a quarter of it. Because like I said, I pulled it apart twice. Because I didn't like the way it was. So we're going to go around. So I'm going to go back under. This is where it's a pain working with. Once it gets shorter, it goes quicker because you don't have to manage the length anymore.
She said, totally unrelated. I've got someone interested in one of my wreaths, but wants me to lower the shipping cost or ship for free.
No.
Yeah.
That would be my thing. No.
You could pull up the dimensions of the size of box you need, and you could show them the actual price of how much it's going to be.
That's usually what I do, Cheryl. I'll pull up USPS and same size as the box and show them how much it would be through USPS and then show them how much you're actually saving them on shipping. And generally that's enough. It's like to go from $25 to, or from $60 to $25. I don't make any exceptions. There's nothing we can physically do to lower shipping costs. Shipping costs for us is what shipping costs are.
Fixed rate.
Yeah, and you're getting the advantage of having a product delivered right to your front door.
And it's okay to say no. Sometimes you don't want the Walmart customer.
Well, I shop at Walmart, so you have to explain the reality of what life is like for us as a, watch, I'm going to probably pull this whole thing off. Let's see. There we go. We can't do anything about shipping. It's not like we're trying to pad our profits to make up for it in shipping. So generally what happens in most cases is when I show the customer transparency, this is how much it is through UPS, or I'm sorry, USPS. So I'm going from, trying to get my...
Sure, you could say that. She's all, can I tell her that Etsy store is offering free shipping? They're adding that cost into the price of the product.
I wouldn't. I would just be honest with the customer. I would say, look, I cannot, you know, there are some people who are selling things on Etsy with free shipping, but in all honesty, we all know that there is no such thing as free shipping. So people are back, you know, they're adding the costs into their product, right, but nobody can ship for free.
Right. Plus the cost of the box and the other shipping materials.
Yeah, not even Wayfair or, you know, Amazon. They do stuff in such bulk quantities that they can make up for it. You know, they're getting a way better shipping rate than we are. You know, even with Etsy's shipping, it's still not as great as it would be for someone like Amazon. You know, we're getting a break, but not an Amazon break. Because Amazon sells, God, I don't even know what the quantity of what they ship in the course of a day looks like. But you guys know we're not shipping anywhere close to that. I'm trying to get this thing to a reasonable level again. I had to pull some of it back because it twisted. Where is it again? I fear that this is going to just, yep, do exactly what I wanted or not wanted it to do, which was when I try to cheat and go, you know, find a different method. I try to pull as much of it through as I can. We're just dealing with a lot of tubing, probably 18 feet of mesh tubing, believe it or not.
Well, Lily, if the tubing goes over one rail and under the other one, it's the one you have to loop around that goes under.
So see, right now I went under this rail. Are you zooming in?
Yeah.
I went under this rail. So if I left it, you're going to see the rail. So you have to go all the way around that one. Please pull the right one. And then the next one, you're going to go over so you don't have to go around that one. So you're kind of going over, under. But when you get to the unders, if you can see the rail like this, you have to go all the way around again. Just like that. And then keep it tight and push it down. So here, over, but on the outside, we're going under.
Thanks, Audrey. You said, really like the way this looks. Very good. You're doing a great job.
Ugh.
Just a lot more time consuming than you thought it was going to be.
A lot more time consuming, but I would rather have this look. And I'll share the picture with you guys of what I was looking at earlier.
Yep, Linda, exactly. Over, under, and then around. Over, under, and then around.
I know, it kind of sounds complicated. Just remember, if you're going over, under, when you get to the under, if you can see the rail, go all the way around so you don't see that. And then go over the top.
Once you get the first line or two, you kind of get it.
Yeah. See, like right now I'm going all the way around.
Yeah. We're working with that other rail that goes all the way across is kind of cool.
Yeah. So watch right now as we get to that center rail. Okay, anytime you want, hold on a sec, I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to pull. I have a feeling I'm going to pull this back out. No. Okay, so over. I just find when I try to go all the way around in one swoop, I can't grab the flex tubing the way I want. And so I end up grabbing the wrong end and pulling the end that I don't want. Okay. We're going around. It's starting to get somewhat easier now. So we're going under. I'm trying to do big swoops, so I'm really yanking on it.
I'll just join. Yes, this will obviously be available. Once she finishes, you can go back and watch it. And then she'll post pictures of the final product.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going over and we're going back under. So I just want to make sure I'm grabbing the right one.
Hi, Jackie. She's new to the group. Welcome. Everybody welcome Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. I apologize. This is taking me longer than it was supposed to, but I just liked this look better than the one I saw. And I'm all about making good quality products.
Welcome Shawanda too, everybody.
So we're starting to get there.
Valerie asked, what price point do you think for this? That's going to be a tough one for her.
Yeah, I was telling Steve, I'm like, well, it was going to be about 40 to 45, but sitting here and weaving all this mesh and making sure it looks good, I think it's going to be more labor intensive, like all of our pumpkins are. And right now, if you look on Etsy, there are none at all like this. There are 0. I Googled it, I Amazoned it, nobody has them. So no one's making them. So what ends up happening when you find a product that nobody else has made,
Prices can go high.
you can, well,
Charge what you want for the most part.
I'm only making one. I am not going to go back and make a handful of these. So, you know, here's that thing, right? So, do you offer free shipping on this? I'm like, no. No. People are taking advantage of our time, our skill, the fact that we don't charge for everything in the cost of our wreaths. We don't charge for how much it costs us to go to Hobby Lobby, to get shipping on our products from Craft Outlet, and the amount of time it takes to do that, the prep time it takes in getting your materials done. We don't charge for that. You know, those are kind of like givens. But, you know, there's people, honestly, that will sell these all day long for $25. I just would not want this job all day to do this every day.
Unless you can find a simpler, easier way.
Well,
That doesn't seem like it. If you really want a nice looking.
can you think of a better way? I always like pick Steve's brain because sometimes he thinks outside of the box, whereas I'm like, look, I figured it out. We're done. I wouldn't want to put deco mesh on here. I wouldn't want to cover it in ribbon.
I could think of an easier way, but yes, it would have the frame showing a little bit. And
What, you would just weave it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then just keep pushing it down. Keep pushing it down.
No. I've already tried that. I have already tried that. It looks horrible. I would not want to ever put my name on that product. I would not want someone to purchase it and then get it home and then see that's exactly what it is. I don't know. I'm all about quality.
Well, that would be a good idea, but Dollar Tree isn't you know, people are going to take, even if they do some sort of video for each of the frames, people are going to do what they want to do with it.
What's that?
She said it makes sense that Dollar Tree stocks the frame. They would come up with a demo video to show how to use it.
Nope.
Yeah.
They're just responding to the demand of, hey, we can make a wreath frame and people can figure it out. It's like the 3D pumpkin frame. When those came out, no one knew what to do with them. Nobody. Yeah. It took forever for someone to finally go, we can take yarn and weave yarn in it. And then for like the first, I think it came out in the fall. So that entire month, that's all you saw on Etsy. Everybody was weaving the 3D pumpkins with yarn.
Siobhan, yeah, she's done the deco mesh weaving for the pumpkin, and it does not come out very well. It would be too bulky.
I've done it. Matter of fact, I had it listed in my shop for over a year. Nobody did anything with it, so I basically took it, cut all the deco mesh off, and kept the frame. It's just one of those things like, hey, this was an idea that never went anywhere. So we're almost finishing up with this section, and I make them really tight.
Yeah, Kat's using Dollar Tree deco mesh tubing. That's what she's using.
Pulling it tight so that it's not flexing. Right. I'm just dealing with 18 feet of it as I'm trying to weave it through this, and then you'll see it gets so much easier when you're only pulling like 3 feet because it just all comes in one big swoop. But look at how brilliant. I mean, it just sparkles. I love that look for this. Okay, anytime you want to go on through, gotta make it all the way over. You always want to make sure you're pulling the right end. I have done that so many times and pulled the wrong end. And so now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of going up and over the section like this. And then this was my over, so I'm going to go back under. Probably overcomplicating it, but I'm trying to hide the frame. So we're going to go up. Trying to get this. There we go. So I can get my mesh in here. There we go. And then I'm going to come up around, and I'm going to go back around this a little bit. Trying to hide that kind of helps when it's not wrapped around your leg. And this one we're going under.
Oh, thanks, Katrina.
And then I'm going to go over.
Valerie's asked, was the tubing in their fall section?
Yes, it was in the seasonal section at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
So now I'm going, I don't want to twist. Like you don't want to knot. I'll show you here in a second. There we go. So I'm blending this look right here and trying to hide the upper frame. So my whole goal is always push down what I did before. So this is going over. And then this was going under.
Sure, so it's looking really good, Kat. Can't wait to see how you finish it.
No, it's just taking way too long. It wouldn't take so long if you weren't doing this with 18 feet of mesh tubing. So we're going back under. Oh lordy. We're going to push it down so I can actually see what I'm doing. Going around. Giving the flex tubing a workout though.
Yeah.
The great thing is this is totally waterproof. Completely waterproof. Except when we add the ribbon. Yeah. So if the ribbon has cotton in it or canvas, then that won't be waterproof. But this whole design so far is.
And even when she adds the ribbon, which is only going to be a couple dollars, you're at most probably $8 into this whole product.
$8?
Just, yeah.
No, not even that.
Well, that's what I meant, at the most.
I don't even think that much. That's being way generous.
Okay, $7.
Okay, so brown Deca mesh tubing, $2. Frame, $1. Ribbon, because this is such.
Deca mesh tubing is $3.
Okay, so there's $4. And then, okay, we'll go $6. I'll be lenient. Just materials cost alone, $6. So now I'm just trying to get this under, trying to pull all that out.
She wanted Katrina's great. I love Kat's work. Her wreaths are so beautiful. Yeah, I love her voice too.
Aw, thanks. Okay, so I've got to get this around one more time. See, we're finishing this section up. And you can see how tight it is, but that's good. Okay, we're gonna push all this stuff back down. So we're going over. So I'm gonna go actually under this small section I have woven here. There we go. Trying to get that through part of what I've already woven over. And I'm going to go back under. Okay, flex tubing. Okay. What?
Like I said, your time weaving Deca mesh tubing, $1 million.
Right? Priceless. Okay, so I think I'm done with this section, so I'll come over, finishing up the last row in this. But look at how pretty that looks. It's such a nice tight weave. It feels really cool. Like really nice. So I'm just gonna go back over. I'm just kind of weaving over the top of that frame. Just trying to hide it however I can. Just like that.
And to look at the stitching for the football, you'll just have to pull up pictures of a football and try to imitate it.
Let me try to get this in. Trying to work in this little itty bitty part. There it goes. I'm just working the sections probably more than I probably should be. Okay. And then I'm going to go back under this. I'm just playing with that frame, making it look like it's woven so we don't see that. So back over, under. I'm going to go back over this.
Hi Rita, no worries.
And then I'm going to go under this part. As soon as I can pull it. There we go. Around. I think this is probably where you'll spend the most time, is trying to hide those sections. Because if you don't, no matter how much you try to let it fluff, you'll still see it. It's just up to you. Are you okay with the way that that looks? Or are you not? If you're not, then try to figure out a way you can go back through that and make it disappear. So I'm gonna go under, Trying to make it all the way across. Push down. If you feel like you don't have enough, push it down.
Tyler said anxious to see what colors you've chosen for the bow.
Standard football ribbon, actually. So just let me get this last one, and then we'll make our bow. We're going over. Trying to get this piece of flex tubing under. Can you turn on the air for me, please? You did? Oh, okay. Yeah. We're dealing with really high humidity here today, so it is just not good. Okay. So I'm into my second section. Let's hope this kind of goes somewhat a little easier. Well, we shall see. Over.
Susan, yeah, you could use, like you said, if you're doing this, just make for a friend or family, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah, you can.
I could see using Team Woods initials and school colors attached. Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, if you're doing it for a friend and you're not going to be advertising it on the internet for sale, you can do whatever you want. You know, you can do your girlfriend's favorite football team for her. You can use Steelers ribbon. You can use Steelers football helmets. You could use, you know, whatever their favorite team football is.
Yep.
Or football team.
Rita, that's just standard Dollar Tree brown deco mesh tubing. Brown and silver.
I'm gonna go up. Try to pull this one through. And we're pushing down. And then around. It's so much nicer when you get it to a manageable length. Like this. Because I'm just trying to show you what you can do when you come to your stitching. So you guys okay if we kind of crank it out another section? Try to do it as fast as I can, as long as I'm not stepping on the ribbon as I try to pull it.
Parrish Peggy, she says just sorry to interrupt you with updates on family members in the hospital with COVID.
Yeah, it's coming around again. But it is, I mean, there's people who have passed away, but there are people who survive it. So the good thing is now that it's been around for so long, most doctors know how to treat it.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you're treating it from home, it is, you can manage. Oop, I want over. So let's get this over. See, now we're getting into that more manageable length. Oh.
Well, have fun, Kathy.
What's up?
She said tuning in late. We'll watch replay. She's leaving in 30 minutes for the comedy show at the church.
Oh, nice. So we're going over, under. So you can see I keep pretty good tension on it, and I'm always pushing it forward. Just always trying to get a loop in here so I can pull it. Push forward, enter, around, around. What do you guys think of the overall effect though? Do you think that it's worth taking the time to do this? Or you're like, nope, I'll pass on this one. I mean, there's so many other easier designs for football. Oop. I want to know how many of you are going to try it. Or was I the only one?
Rita said yes, I like it myself. Gail said pass.
Pass.
Kat said I'll give it a try.
Right? Hey,
They
Gail.
said no, it's too tedious for me. Simone said it takes a lot of patience, but really cool design.
I think, yeah. So once this goes up, it'll be interesting to see. So if it sells really quickly, I priced it too low. That's what it tells me. Because you kind of want it. You want to get a lot of hits off of it.
David said if I can find the form, yeah, I would do it. Shawanda said I like it. Valerie said I'm definitely doing it.
Okay.
Kimmy said I'm gonna try it. Looks so nice. And Carmen said can't wait to make one.
Good. Okay, so this was worth the struggle game to figure it out.
I mean, from what I've seen as you're going, it looks spot on as far as what the football should look like.
Right, because it's keeping the form, the ribs of the football.
Yep.
Well, that's good for you because I'm looking at it from a guy's perspective and not a woman's perspective. But
Kenitha said I want to try it if I can find purple tubing for my son's college football team.
purple tubing?
Have patience. That's the big thing. Then it said I've tried rag wreath technique and the no sew blanket material. Both techniques a big fat no.
Uh-oh.
I think next I will try to make a hanger plant with it. This looks so time confusing but pretty.
Yeah.
But time consuming. I will pass on making it.
But see, if you're sitting there watching, I don't know, watching some movie or you're just killing time, this is an easy project to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a rag race. It's kind of like the tablecloth designs. You know, sure, we can always find a cheat sheet method, you know, like, oh, flex tubing. Like, I'll show you what somebody's flex tube method look like, and then you can decide which method you probably would do. So let's do this, finish this last piece up, and then we'll see if we can kind of add some of the stitching, which all I'm going to do is take the silver and just go in here, like maybe every 3 or 4 sections. So if I can finish this section up, because don't the things just go here?
Just in the center. Yeah.
Just in the center?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get to that part so you guys know what to do.
About an inch apart.
Well, I'm not going to be accurate because this is... Yeah. I don't know if this is the same dimension as a football would be.
That's pretty close.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. See, now as we're getting to the corner now, everything wants to go this way. So I'm really pulling it tight to try to fill up that section. Up, over. This one's going to go up, over. See, I want it down because I need it to compact around the frame. I don't need it to squish up and not fill these. Is this the other piece? Okay. So I want to, let's do this. So I'm trying to do that. Actually,
That's the second bag, so.
no, this was the first bag.
That's it. Was the first bag?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Right?
No, second bag.
Well, I had a piece here on the ground and it's still on the ground.
Yeah.
So I think still 2. Okay. So round. Okay, push down. We need to go under. I'm always standing on it because I always move. We're going to go round again. Go, go. And over. So now I'm having to be really like trying to keep the ribs tight enough so that I can finish this section. Once this section finished, then I think you're gonna have the same issue. Is everything's gonna wanna go to the point, and you're really gonna have to struggle to keep it tight, to keep it full. Because you don't wanna get an entire section all the way done and then have to go back in and add more. Because, you know, you followed a shorter line.
Linda, yeah, I'm sure you could. She said, I wonder if you could do the math, figure out the footage for each section. That would make it easier. I mean, same thing. Once you just run out of one bag, you know that's 10 yards, right?
And no, it's 30. It's
30
18 feet. No, 36 feet. Yeah, 18 yards. Yeah. So it's a lot of deco mesh tubing. This is why Kat was looking for brown chunky yarn like we were doing for the pumpkins, because the diameter on the chunky yarn would be way thicker. What a pain. I would have liked to have you guys join me like at this point. I'd be like, okay, and here we are. But it just takes a while.
Yeah.
Another 18 feet.
So yeah, I mean, you've been on this straight pretty much for like an hour and 20 minutes.
What time is it?
Right at 4.
Oh. Yeah.
So it's a good gauge of...
That's true, because we were 30 minutes in before we started this at
2:30.
2:30. So this is where I'm at. Much later. And I'm really trying to, like each section, I'm pushing them down. Wrapping it.
Some of the one you want to stop and do the bow.
Yeah, I'm going to try to finish this section so that I can add the stitching, so we can show that. Going around and then back under. This is a good workout, you know, for your arms. If you have cats, beware. They probably want to play with everything that you have. What are you doing, Steve? I hear him in my craft room. Like, what are you doing in there? It's hanging on the pegboard. I have 3 other bags. Guys should know that women come prepared. We're not going to ever be without. We'll always make sure we have plenty. I wasn't sure how many they had, because the way they did it, it was so loose.
And then it's a different subject. What temperature for the wood burning tool? I haven't had a chance to check to see if you answered, which was too close to the live show.
Wood burning tool, 425. 425. That's where I keep mine. So when you're buying your wood burning tool, you can pick it up from any place. You just need to make sure that it can get to at least 425.
Nancy, I think I'll just return the football frame. My hands are hurting just watching you do this.
It's not that hard. I'm just trying to hurry. Like if I was watching TV, I would just be taking my time, you know, kind of have this sitting in my lap, watching TV, trying to make sure my cats don't pull it all the way through for me or unweave what I've already woven. It's just dealing with the long lengths. So who was it that said that they would measure the sections? It's different though, because you might do a tight, you know, or not as tight of a, like I could sit there and say, okay, so each section is roughly between about 18 feet. of deco mesh tubing, but then my weave might be way tighter than yours.
Linda Robbins.
Oh, Linda said that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I'm like really making sure it stays tight, because right now everything wants to go up to the top.
Right.
And if you let it stay that way, then when you go to try to pull it, you won't have enough because it's too tight based on where it is. What are you doing? Oh, the silver?
Yeah.
So around, it's just the length, honestly, because I repositioned my feet so Steve could grab the silver, and then I just stood back on the brown again. So we'll go around.
Yeah, Linda, right? She said you could just do this while watching the football game, and you got plenty of time.
You could. I'm not a football fan, so the only reason I'm doing this is because y'all asked. You said, hey, has anyone ever tried to make a wreath at the football thing? So, like I said, you can go on Etsy and find tons of people who have taken it and put it with deco mesh. I'm just not a fan at all. I was like, there's got to be a better way. You're missing the shape. You're losing the shape of the football in the process. It looks so cool on the inside too. Okay. Come on, Lord. Let's just speed things along. I mean, Steve tried to help me. He's like, would it help if I was doing the other side? And I was like, nope. It's too hard for two people to work on it at the same time.
Yeah.
You just need one person to do it, because how I put mine on might be a different tightness than how Steve was, and then you get half of a look that is one way and half that is another. So you've got to get rid of that. This is how the other wreath looked, that you could totally see light through it, and I hated that. I was like, no, don't like that. I was thinking, well, maybe if I bought more mesh tubing than what she used, maybe that was the thing. Maybe she ran out of tubing. Maybe she just didn't have enough. And so that was what she created, but no. So we'll finish this, and then I'll show you how to add the stitching. And then okay, come on. Go around again. Make sure you stay on that top. And you're gonna go over and then under. We'll watch. We'll try to do two. What ends up happening is one goes high and one goes low. And then it kind of kinks your mesh tubing. So you have to kind of sort it all out. And at this stage, had I done it the right way, it would go much quicker. Okay. Push down. And you'll always have more, like here on the outside, than you will on the inside. So when I'm pushing this down, you can see this isn't like when you're sewing and you have the entire spool of thread that you're trying to work through your item, which is what it feels like here.
Yeah, probably.
What?
Someone said I suppose doubling up on the tubing would be more cumbersome.
You just would lose control over it.
Linda said that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see if you guys come up with a different method, but This is the only one that I figured out that works, that gives me a look that I'm happy to put my name, you know, that I'd be content having a customer purchase from me. It's just trying to get into the last little sections. So we're going to go back through and around. Up over. It's getting there. And then back around. I'm just trying really hard not to knot my flex tubing. That would be another issue, is you don't want to, you know, have a giant knot ball somewhere. But look how pretty that looks. It looks like a real football, except that it's shiny, and a football's probably not shiny, right? No.
A little bit.
No, not like this metallic shiny.
No, not like metallic shiny, but I think the color is pretty dang spot on.
Well, I'm still trying to push everything down. Okay. Around. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me, so I'm not entirely by myself.
You said I saw spiderweb forms like the Widges hat at Dollar Tree. I was wondering if you could redo those like the hat.
I don't see that happening. There's just some that you're just going to look at and think, is it really worth it for you to pull all the tinsel off to rework the design? And I mean, you can try it. You can try to do it like we're doing here with flex tubing. You might be able to make that work.
And I said, not a football fan either, but the people that are here are crazy about the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. No, I mean,
I think the Seahawks are the champs.
we have a lot of people who are very into football. A lot of our friends are.
Thanks, Lynetta. She said, I just saw the burlap and rope football wreath. Yours looks so much better.
Burlap and rope?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'd like to see that. Okay, we're getting into that last section, so we really need it to be tight because remember our sides are a little longer than the middle is. So even though that looks, I need to make sure that stuff goes away.
Yeah, Linda, this is kind of the only downfall is it is very pretty. She said, however, to me it's too labor intensive to get a profit out of it. Not really, I mean.
I am doing it. This would be something kind of like the rag race, right? So you can say the same thing about a rag wreath is it takes a long time to put a really good quality rag wreath together. And while the materials might not be that high because the labor is, you know, you're putting a lot more labor into it. I think for the effect, you know, hey, you can put this in your resume as a wreath maker and say, I know how to do it. Would I want to make one? You know, at that stage, you can be your own judge and say, no. I know what it takes to put that together. Here, it's just one of those things because remember, I don't duplicate my designs. I'm okay with it just doing the one. See, I'm trying to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So making that outside edge a little thicker.
You have to keep pushing it back.
You have to keep pushing it down. Each row, you're keeping the tension on it so that you have space to push it down. But I think it's well worth it. For the look you're trying for, I think it's worth it. If you just wanted to slap deco mesh on a frame,
yeah, no, the look is great, but like I said, time consuming.
it's time consuming. It is that. Okay, we're almost done.
Kind of also like the felt heart wreath.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, the felt circle wreath. That was a nightmare. To this day, we're still looking for somebody just to sell 3-inch felt hearts or felt circles because I never.
How many? 200?
211, I think.
20 or something like that, yeah.
It was crazy, but the look was amazing. But you just never ever wanted to cut out 211 3-inch circles through felt ever again. But people will message you and go, oh my God, this looks so amazing. You're like, yeah, I know it does. It's just so not worth my time. I did it once. Now, if somebody came out with it, would I make it again? Oh yeah. You
could just buy the 203
yeah. Easily, all day, every day. You know, people are saying, oh, well, you can, use it on the Cricut. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the money to buy a Cricut when, if I'm probably just patient enough, somebody will eventually make them, because that's what they did for the felt leaves wreath. So now we're getting in. So I'm trying to finish this section so that we can put in our stitching.
So I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thank you guys for staying with me.
Cap said I'll be going to every Dollar Tree in the area because I can't get it up online. Can't get it online.
What? The mesh? The flex tubing?
I guess you can't pull up Dollar Tree online for whatever reason.
Really? Yeah. Okay. I think... I don't know how I ended up with my tubing at the back, but I don't like it there. It needs to be in the front. And then go around the outside again. Let's see. I'm still trying to, like, this side is fine, look. And then maybe it's just Cat. Maybe Cat's just overly picky. Hold on.
You can keep pushing it down though.
Yeah, I'm gonna push them down a couple more, but okay, there's that, right? So let's, can you hand me a hair clip? Wow, the humidity out today is horrible. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we're gonna add the stitching in here. Like the little, what is it? The things that people put their fingers on. Steve probably has a technical term for that. And honestly, I think with what I have left here and the other that I have, the leftover little piece, thanks, it would be enough. So what I would do, look, Steve was really creative. He's like, oh, look, you could do pipe cleaners. And I was like, no. I don't do pipe cleaners. So, but there are 8 of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to come down here, right where my frame is. And I'm going to pull this. And I'm trying to think, you said they have to be, I'm not worrying about how, like, he's like, well, they have to be about 1 inch apart. I'm like, I kind of don't care. It's just going to be a girl's version of a football. So I'm trying to hold one end and then weave this in. Oh, Lordy. How did these get twisted? There we go. That's the thing about the flex taping. It likes to twist. So I need it in the same row. So that's one thing we're learning. It has to be in the same row. So there's one. I'm not worried about that. Don't care. Here's another one. Okay, we're gonna go because it's really particular with the flex tubing. It's not going to be an exact, Steve.
Yeah.
Like even the people who made them out of mesh don't put this much detail in it.
Yeah, you don't really have to go too tight either.
No. So I'm trying to put equal lengths, and I'm going like about every 3. So I'll go back in here, poke this through. And then go up another 4. So you don't want to pull them too tight.
Hi, Marlene. And yeah, we know they're called laces.
Laces, thank you. I said I didn't know what they were called. Laces. Okay. So you just don't want to pull too tight, otherwise you lose your laces because they're just loops going over that center thing. They would be really hard pressed. One more. There we go. So, and then we need 8, you said. Okay. What do you think so far?
Yeah, all right.
People will be like, well, there's no thing down the center.
If you needed to, you could always pull one all the way through.
You could, yeah. I think I probably would do that after.
Yeah.
Maybe. All this weaving, right?
Kimmy, by this point, like I said, you probably just want to just measure them out. She said maybe you could use a jumbo craft stick on the underside to keep them spaced out for you.
You probably
You
could.
could.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You know, having something that keeps the dimensions a little longer.
And so the cat looks really nice. Looks nice. I always love how detailed your work is.
But at what at what risk, right?
You just have one more, huh?
Yeah, I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, one more. Yay! And then we'll do our bow. And then I'll finish the rest. And I'll be done. Ooh. Wait. Grab the wrong one.
Oh yeah, then you really pull the lace thing.
What?
The first one.
Oh yeah, I'll pull it back out. Yeah, grab the wrong side. Steve will get too picky and he'll measure them and he'll tell me they're not the right size. Well, technically they're not on there either. And then yeah, if you wanted to, you could probably find a way to go right down the middle, but I swear,
Just pull them under, yeah.
yeah, at that point it starts to become way too complex.
Yeah.
So, and you can kind of see what I've done. So I would pull these ones through so they're not so tight. Like I would make sure everything was nice through here. And then there we go. Okay, so bow, right? I'm just gonna take this, Throw that over there. So this we're not using. I've already made an executive decision. We're not using that because it's just going to be a simple bow. So it's going to fit, glue this. It's going to sit on the top of the football so that you'll still be able to see that it's a football. So if we're adding it here, like when I build the bow, I'll just kind of set it here so you can kind of see how it looks. Let me just make sure this goes back through. Okay, so 1.5" ribbon with the football, okay, all from Craft Outlet. The regular, here's the laces for the football, and then we're using this 2.5 inch with the yard line, and that is how we're making our bow. So it's going to be small. It cannot be over the top. 7 or 6 layer bow has to be something reasonable. So we're going to start with this at the bottom, on the bottom part of our bow. So I'm going to dovetail the ends. So I'm going to cut it pretty deep, just like this. You need to look and see how far this is going to hang down. You don't want it to go more than halfway down your football, or you don't have a football. So here it's basically 7.5 inches. So simple bow. So 7.5 inches means this is probably going to be about 4.5 for this. This is driving me crazy because I don't ever have that. No, you can just set it there. This is like 5 inches though. Hold on a sec. Let me pull this out and look. We can go 5. Okay. I was like, is it gonna eat the size of our football? But no, 5's good. Just no more than 5 inches if you're using 2.5 inch. And then remember we said 7.5. And then we'll.
Pam said it kind of reminds me of the pumpkins. Yeah, the yarn.
Yeah, it just was, like I said, when you stretch it pretty tight, it kind of feels almost plastic-like. Okay, then we're going to put the footballs probably on the outside. So, cut this. I'm happy with the way it looks, even though it's taking a while. I'd rather be content with the design than, you know, just throw it out there just to have it done. So I'm going to do 7 inches. And then I'm going to do 4.5 for my loops. So I'm always going to bring it back right here. 4.5. Okay, all the way out to 7. Now she's probably squawking because she wants food.
Yeah, I'll do that a little bit.
Okay. There's that. Now let's do the football. Football ribbon. What do you guys think of the ribbon choices though? I didn't have any of this. I sold it all with my football kit. All of it. Because I thought, there's no way I'm going to do football wreath. But then there was this, which looks really cool. Okay, this one we're going to go 6.5 inches. So I'm taking it down 1/2 inch each time. And then the same with my loop size. So let's go 3.5. And then 3.5. Actually, let's do this part right here. Let's do a double on this one. So let's do 2 more. So I'm gonna make these ones the same. Sometimes it's just fun to do something different. Except when you have to get your live ready in a half hour. That was the problem. I really honestly did not think it was gonna take that long. I think that's gonna be, yeah, that's a weird cut because this ribbon is that satin fake polyester blend. There we go. Happier with that. Okay, let us pipe cleaner right here. Simple one. I think I want to do, hold on. I think I want to add another one of these. So I'm just going to unstuck this a little bit. I'm going to have a little bit bigger bow. So I know this was 7. So I'm going to lift this up.
Barbara, the ribbon, the 2.5 inch yardline ribbon came from Craft Outlet.
Craft Outlet.
All 3 of them did.
Craft Outlet.
Yeah, so and the 1.5 inch on white ribbon and the football skin print, they're all Craft Outlet. Yep.
All of them. That's what I was saying.
Yep.
Okay. 527. I just want to add a little bit more football print. Just have a little bit more fuller bow, not a long bow. And then this I'm just going to pick up, push all back in there.
Susan, if you're doing a private sale, you can use any logo you want.
You cannot advertise it.
You just can't advertise it right. And then if you're actually selling this, it can't be any type of logos.
Yeah, like if I was listing this, I couldn't put Steelers football wreath,
Right.
or, you know, USC football wreath or whatever.
Right, you can just put football wreath.
Yeah. So we're going to do all the tails down. Oop. This is, here we go. Okay. So I'm just hand fluffing this one. So we're going to pull these apart. These. Gotta get my other tail down. Go one high, one low. You want to make sure all these are open though, so they're nice and pretty. Nice and fluffy. I like it with more tails. There we go. I need to fluff this one and this. But there's our little bow. Super cute. If you wanted to, you could put a little football in there.
Yeah.
A little football. Okay. So on here, this is how this would go. It would kind of go just like so. And it's such a tight weave at the bottom, which is so perfect because, hey, we just push our pipe cleaners through, and I would do it right on either side of that center frame. Pull this all the way down, and then you can make a loop like right here.
Rita, just keep practicing.
Make a loop
I
loop.
can't seem to get the hang of the twist part of making of the bow. I really struggle with that.
Just twist.
Yeah, the twist part of.
What kind of bow maker are you using? See, here's my hanger. What do you guys think? Isn't that super cute? It's adorable for a little football wreath. Just like so. And then once we finish it, it'll look super cute. Just like so. It would look better if I fluffed this probably on, not my fluff board, just fluff it where it's laying down so I know where things can be fluffed and where things can be pulled. But yeah, that is it in a nutshell. A football wreath. And then Kat's gonna go ahead and continue to finish this. What questions do you guys have that I can answer for you? And doing the white in the end that I did, same way I did it here. I just trying to think how many ones up I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did it 9 up from the bottom. Or in this case, 1. Hold on a second.
Peggy, you could put little twinkle lights underneath it if you wanted to. That would be cute.
6 from where I'm starting right now. And I just, again, I'm going to pull this off because I am still in the process of working through this.
And I said your football does look really cool. Talia said love it.
I am going.
You just said she's using the Easy Bow, but she has that one you're using too, which is the Bodabra.
I like the Bodabra better. And that's just my preference because for me, it doesn't seem like, to me, this is just all my preference. And I'm just going to cut this off because I don't want to pull it back through my mesh under in it or tubing. It just doesn't seem like to me I can get that tight of a twist and hold using the Easy Bow Maker because there's no spring action. It's basically static, like it's opened in one thing, whereas the Bodabra has it's spring loaded. So even over time, you know, it's gonna wear out. What other questions can I answer for you guys? That's about it. Okay, well, I'm gonna finish this up. I will take pictures. I will post this, and then you will see the finished product, and I'll keep you posted on if it sells and how much. And the finished size is gonna be super small. So I'm looking 12. It's about 10 inches on the diagonal. Let's see, here to here is about 13, so it'll probably fit in a 16 box or maybe a 12. I have 12-inch boxes, I just don't have 14. So I'll see if it'll fit. I think it will on the diagonal. And then if so, you keep shipping low, but keep in mind, as with all things, it depends on where it's going.
So this is very cute. I've had the football frame for a year and wasn't sure what to do with it. Glad you showed us this technique tonight.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you guys. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to finish this up, and I'll see you guys back here shortly where we're going to do the scarecrow wreath. If Kat can finish this in time, she'll finish it. And I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, everyone.